This show is intended for mature audiences. Topics of adult content, triggers, and explicit language may be discussed with or without warning. All thoughts and opinions belong to our hosts and do not reflect the original creator's own intentions. Spoilers for the book will be discussed, and while most discussion will revolve around the picked book, we do not guarantee there will be no spoiler warnings for other books or series. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Biblio Madness, everyone. Grab a drink, grab us a cozy snack. We're going to sit down today, and we're going to discuss a favorite book of mine, and we're going to go in a little bit further. If you're new here, welcome. If you've watched before, welcome back. We're very glad you're here. We definitely want to know your book recommendations, so don't forget to comment them, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you do know about when we post. It's always on Monday at 10 a.m. if you forget, but the notification does help.
Yes.
Also, I'm Rachel, your host, and this is...
I'm Laken.
We did it backwards this time. It's going to be okay. We switch it up. Keep you guys on your toes. Okay? That's how we like to say it. Now, Laken, do you want to tell us what book we're diving into?
Yes, so we are going to be discussing Crave by Tracy Wolff. We'll be getting into this fantastical world. Absolutely captivated both of us.
I am very excited for Crave, talking about it, because I'm not going to lie. So far, my favorite book of the year that I have read. So everyone settle in as we discuss the spellbinding world of Crave by Tracy Wolff.
Mm-hmm.
A thrilling fantasy romance that's captured the hearts of many readers, including mine.
And mine. I love it too.
You say that, but people who've watched the top 5 of the year already know you've ranked it the lowest on that bar.
But it still made it into my top 5. It says something.
My heart still breaks on that, and I'm not going to think about it too much because I love Crave, honestly. But we're going to dive in, go in a little bit discussion about the writing style, how readability, the characters, the story-ish. I don't want to spoil too much because I feel bad spoiling books, but we do that here. We spoil books, so maybe don't listen to part of the cast. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to tell you not to listen. Go read the book and then come back and listen. Or if you like to know what's happening before you read a book, like me, listen away and then enjoy all of the details when you read it.
Yes.
All right, so where do you want to start? Do you want to start with first impressions?
We can.
All right.
So, first impressions of the book. We went into this book hearing that it was like Twilight. And I feel like a lot of people hear that this is like Twilight.
It's because of the book art. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. It's the book art that got it. Because I have Twilight and Crave sitting behind Laken right now, and they both look very similar.
The book art does look like it. And I honestly, like, I don't feel like it's anything reminiscent of Twilight.
No.
Sorry to Twilight fans out there. I do not like the Twilight books. I think the writing style is
angsty.
Not great.
Bad angst.
Yeah.
Teenage angst. Like the text messages me and Laken read earlier, because we found text messages of me and my husband when we were 15 and 17, and babe was the word to use when you're a teenager, so that was cringy. I feel like it's on the same level for me personally, but Twilight's also nostalgic.
Yeah, I feel like that's the key thing for like Twilight for me, is it has a comfy, nostalgic feel. But I would say that it's not really that reminiscent. The only thing similar is the vampires and werewolves. Like the paranormals are the only thing really similar.
And that's only 2 of the paranormals that we touch in Crave.
Yes.
So, for me, first impressions after reading it, I thought it sounded... This book came out in 2020. Just reference that, everyone here. Tracy Wolff hammered out 6 books since 2020, and that's astounding. And that's not on top of everything else.
I feel like that's unheard of. That's crazy.
That's amazing. Great job, Tracy. But for this book specifically, I had no thoughts besides the whole Twilight vibe going into this. So I was like, it's about vampires, it's about werewolves. Cool. It's going to be a school about vampires and werewolves. Not at all even close to what I got.
No.
I freaked the frick out.
Yeah.
When I found out what this book was about.
So, yeah, I mean, I went into this book as well, just thinking vampires and werewolves, and the first hint of that is, like, really early on.
Yep.
That they hint at this, like, because, I guess for a little bit of context, if you've not read the book follows Grace Foster, who is how old is she? Like 17 in this book.
Yeah, she's a senior. She's 17.
So she moves to this boarding school in Alaska, right? Okay. So the story is told through Grace's point of view, and she's an outsider to this new world. You know,
yep,
common trope. But yeah. So we find out pretty quickly on, like, there's hints of things being not the way they, seem, and the different paranormals are even hinted at really early on.
Yeah. You figure out pretty quickly that this is not a normal school, like, almost immediately, so that's not really a spoiler. Also, read the back of the book.
Yeah.
But for me, sorry if that was a little salty. It's fine. For me, the books were very reminiscent of the same kind of atmosphere of Harry Potter. But there was also something else that it reminded me of, almost to a T.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And that is, we're going to go into a little bit of the first chapter-ish of Crave. And you go in and you see and you meet Grace, which is our main character, who's the point of view that we're getting. You meet Grace, she goes to the school, she gets in, everyone is almost like immediately you meet Jackson, who's like in her face, like, this is dangerous, you need to leave. And they're like, okay, like, back off. We're just at boarding school. Calm down. Okay. Doesn't know what's going on. But then she gets up and she meets her cousin, Macy, who's another one of the main characters. And she has bright hair. And she's super cheerful. And you also meet Macy at the airport, too. Because I forgot about that. Because they took the snowmobile.
We meet Macy first.
And she's super happy. Bright hair. Super outgoing. And then after all this, like, just to get the point across of what this vibe is for this castle and this boarding school, we went up to their rooms, and, like, at the first, all of the gothic scenery, the gargoyles that were on the castle, all of these things were ticking something in my brain. I was like, I've seen this before. I don't know how I've seen this castle. I've never read this book. I don't know anything about this book. How have I seen this castle? It's not like Hogwarts. Hogwarts is big. It's a castle, but there's not, like, gargoyles, and it's not gothic. And I kept was like, what is this from? Mm-hmm. And then it was farther as we go, and when we see Macy in their bedroom, where it's split.
Yeah, and one half is, like, decked out in the rainbows and the colors and all of that.
The crystals and all of the things. And I was just like, holy crap, this is Wednesday Addams. Yeah. The show. This is just Wednesday. They're at the school that Wednesday had. And then I look it up, and lo and behold, the Crave community, which is very small, mind you, which is so...
It is heartbreaking.
This is an underrated book. 100% underrated, because it is an amazing book, and I have not been able to put the books down. Yes. And I'm going to cry when they're over. But Macy and these characters are so like Wednesday, it's not even funny, where the Crave community was like, yeah, Tracy could have probably sued Netflix for how much ideas were stolen from Crave. Because Wednesday didn't come out until 2022. And I had to, and I broke the rules. I'm sorry. I texted Laken.
Yeah, we talked about this book a little bit before this. Yep. So that should just be a clue to how good this book is. We couldn't keep it down.
Yeah, I couldn't withhold information. I was freaking out, and I also couldn't stop talking about it. And my husband was like, "Why are you telling me all of these bad jokes?" And I was like, "Well,
oh yeah, the bad jokes.
They were my favorite."
So another impression that we get from Tracy's books, or at least this one, anyways. We've read two so far, but this one is the banter and her writing style is... It's very good.
I was so giddy.
Yeah, I know. The banter between Grace and Jackson, the bad boy of the school.
Yeah, she does have a lot of banter with other people, too.
She does.
Like, the conversations alone, like, flow.
Her writing style is very good. It's very easy. It's very easy to read. But it's also, it feels very organic to me. Like, it's not forced. But the banter between her and Jackson in the first book had me, like you said, like, giggling and kicking my feet. Like, it was sweet. It was cute.
So first impressions of this book, I feel like for both of us, was Gothic Castle, school, Hogwarts vibes. Bunch of different paranormals. This is a spooky August cozy read. I'm gonna get me some chai tea or a nice warm coffee. I'm gonna sit down on a rainy day. I'm gonna curl up in a blanket. I'm gonna read this book, and I'm not gonna put it down.
No, I have not. I have not been able to think about anything but reading these books since we started them.
Yep. And I have 20 pages left of one book, and if I do not finish it, I'm gonna freak out. And it's already late. You guys can see that it's dark in here because we had to film later in the day, and it's like 9 o'clock right now. So I'm gonna be staying up, and I'm gonna try to finish this book. And
I hope you do.
I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna try because I also have to edit all of this. We'll see what happens. But first impressions were, oh my god! For me, when I read this, like the first halfway through, I was like, this is gonna be a 5-star book.
Yeah.
And then also, is this series going to be a 6-star series? Because I am a huge fan of Hogwarts. For all of those that can't see on YouTube, well, for the YouTubers you can see, but everyone else, I have behind us a bookshelf of all of my first edition Harry Potter books that were gifted to me, as well as my paperbacks of Harry Potter, as well as my wands of Harry Potter from Universal, and like a mug. Like I have obsession with Harry Potter, and then I found Crave, and I was like, ooh, a new obsession.
Has all the vibes.
All of the right
but
vibes.
With more.
Oh yes, but with more. With more romance, with more character, more conversation. I honestly said this, and I said this is hard for me to say, that I might like Crave more than I liked Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's
like Crave is the high schooler Harry Potter. Harry Potter is middle school. We're not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's another thing about this series. For those of you that don't know, it is a YA.
Adult.
It's YA right now. Yeah. So.
It's YA adult. I would say YA adult because they do cuss a lot and they do have a lot of innuendos to other things.
Yeah.
That's not typically in YA.
I would say it's towards the older end of it. Definitely not middle school.
Yeah, it's definitely like early college, late high school, which for me, I love those kinds of books. I'm not going to lie. I loved like this is middle school book. I love this book. I grew up in this book. It's nostalgic for a lot of us. We all know the Potter fans. We're all out there. But the Crave series, if you loved Harry Potter, recommend the Crave series immediately. The banter, the writing styles, the readability, the chapters are short. Also, can I mention that? I love and hate. Love for the reason that I always feel like I'm achieving something. The achiever in me loves it.
This, if you like the if you like the gratification of finishing chapters, this series is really good for it. She has really short chapters, which ends up adding up because her books aren't short.
No, they're not short. They're like 700 pages. But she gives you the achiever, so you don't want to put the book down. And that's what made it feel like, because I told Laken this, I was like, it feels like I'm speed reading.
Yeah, because you end up like 70, 80 chapters in before you know it.
Yeah, and you're like sprinting, and you're just like, wait, how is this happening? So, like, I'm at 70 chapters? Okay, let's just keep going. Yep. Like, I don't want to stop. So, with all of that being our first impressions, now we get to talk about the characters that we have. So, do you want to name off the main characters that we have in the school?
Yes. So, we have our Grace. She is, I don't know, how should we describe Grace? I would say, in my words, she's a strong female protagonist. She has had a lot of bad stuff happen to her that we find out. She comes to Katmere because her parents had died the month before. Yeah. So she's in the midst of this gigantic move to the middle of nowhere freaking Alaska. Yeah. With a bunch of people she doesn't know. She's only going to stay with her uncle and her cousin. So, this is a huge, momentous life changing. It's a big transition to go through. After she's lost her parents. Yeah. But she doesn't allow herself to really feel weak, and she doesn't allow herself to, I don't know, really feel sorry for herself. Like, she's really good about, which, I mean, she does have a moment where she comes to these feelings that she's been pushing away. She does do that a little bit.
Because we are human.
That was a little bit relatable from Grace. But, she does have, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? In my words, she's a strong protagonist.
I'm trying to think of the word. She's strong, but she's also very independent. But also, she bottles.
Yeah, she does bottle.
She cares about everyone else and their, not their opinions, but cares about them as people.
One thing I do like about Grace a lot is that she I mean, a lot of times you fall into this pitfall of strong female protagonists, and it's like this bad A who doesn't have any feelings, doesn't care about anybody. But that's not how it is with Grace. She is very caring and very loving of the people around her, and she's also like, I don't know, she leans into like her feminine side a lot in the books.
I will say she's a little naive though.
She is a little naive. She is only like a teenager, though. We have to remind ourselves of that.
I know.
I keep aging the characters up in my mind.
Oh, yeah, same. I aged them up to 20 so quickly.
They're like college age in my head.
I was like, I feel weird about having a crush on a 17-year-old.
Anytime I read anything like YA, or anytime I read something where the characters are younger than me, unless they're like dramatically younger than me, they're aged up.
Yeah, if they're 11, they're 11 in the books. We're not creepy, okay? If they're like 18 in the books, we're like, okay. Oh,
yeah, you're like 20, 22.
You're 25. You're 25. Just boop, boop. 25. Cool. I don't want to feel old. I'll feel old so quickly.
I know.
Don't think about age when you read books unless they're children.
Unless they're very, very like
17,
18 is children, but I don't know. We're not that far
not a child. 18's not a child. Jackson's 18.
Yeah,
Jackson's 18.
Well, is
he? But he's 18. He looks like he's 18.
How long have you been 18, Jackson?
How long? How long, man? Jackson's 18, and Hudson, who died, was in his 20s, right?
Equivalent, yeah.
Yeah, Hudson was in his 20s when he died,
we don't really know much about Hudson.
No, we do know that he was 20 though.
Yeah, but I was saying we don't know much about him in this book.
No, all we know is he died because Hudson was with Leah, and Leah's like crazed over this guy. She got some problems.
Yeah, we meet Leah. We meet Leah pretty early on, at the welcoming party, actually, when Grace kind of runs away from that.
We get all the other characters, which I'm going to throw out their names pretty quickly, because Grace is one of the main characters, so we wanted to go in a little depth. But then we have Macy, her cousin, the very fun, very bright, vibrant girl who's just like the roommate that Wednesday had. And then you have Flint, who is very good looking, very popular, very funny.
Yeah, he's the other popular guy.
He's quirky, but not like quirky in a bad way. I don't think there's a bad way to be quirky, but he's like really fun, energetic, athletic, built, strong guy that you meet almost right off the bat. Then you have Leah, who is also, interestingly, like, always wants to drink tea, which I don't know what that's about.
Big tea drinker.
And then you have her uncle. So those are all your main characters. And then we also have Jackson, which he and Grace's banter throughout the whole book was just so entertaining for us to read throughout the whole thing. But also Jackson is like the perfect guy to the point where I did not fall for the perfection personally, because I was like, he's too good to be true. Too good. And he's still getting better, and I don't understand why somebody can be like this good and be right off the bat with you. So, yeah, don't trust it. Still don't trust it right now. I've not been shown otherwise, but I do not trust it, so I'm just putting it out there. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I got some theories about this book. We'll go into that later. But we'll go into the fantasy elements, because we got our characters. So what did you think about the fantasy elements of it all?
So, I guess as a big fantasy reader myself, this isn't like I wouldn't call this is no way high fantasy. No. It is very unique though, I feel like, in the way that it takes place in our current timeline. Like you said, this was written in 2020, and it was like based off of that time. Yeah. I keep reverting the time back in my head to like medieval, like the medieval times and like more fantasy style settings that you normally see in fantasy. And then like something will happen where they're playing like Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles, which actually happens in the book.
The Harry Styles moments just made me laugh, and then also come to the realization of I'm old.
Yeah, so like these moments would happen, and it'd be like, oh yeah, it's in today's world.
When it wasn't One Direction and it was just Harry Styles, I was like, oh dang.
Yeah, we've missed the bandwagon there, I feel.
Like, whoops.
So it's unique in the way that it takes place in the modern world, and the thing that sets it apart from like we said, Twilight and other plague things, is it's not just vampires and werewolves. We find out. I don't really think this is a spoiler.
No, it's not a spoiler.
We find out quickly. Well, kind of quickly. I don't know. Like we said, we both flew through this book, so it kind of jumbles together.
We're not going through and diving into every single detail of this book because I don't feel like I want to spoil the banter.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about what the book is. Like, I know we've spoiled a lot of other books, but this one you need to read.
There might be slight spoilers, like what I'm about to say, but at the same time, it's not that bad. Anyways. So it's not just a cookie cutter like vampires versus werewolves in this book. We find out that there is a whole world of paranormal creatures, like
full on supernatural stuff.
Yeah, like or if you've read the Mortal Instruments, like all the legends are true kind of thing. You know, there's like a whole bunch of other things. There's sirens. There's warlocks and witches. There's dragons.
All of the things. Fairies.
They
succubus, all of the things.
Yeah, they said that the school in Los Angeles was like a succubi.
Yeah, there's
like specialization in
so
Katmere.
Many schools.
Yeah, Katmere specializes in the vampires, werewolves, witches, and dragons.
So that comes to my conclusion of why I was talking about it being a little bit better than Harry. It's because it's not just warlocks and witches, which I do love a warlock and witch focused book, but I like the inclusivity. That Crave offers for creatures.
And talking about inclusivity, there is a lot of inclusivity in this book, and I feel like sometimes fantasy books can fall into the pitfalls of having trouble with inclusivities. But that's not the case in her books. We have a wide range of characters in all different diverse groups.
Oh yeah, they're all very diverse.
And they're all very well written. Like sometimes you read stuff and you're just like, ooh, this is a little cringy, but no. They're all very well written. All the characters are.
No, this book was very, very, very well written. It was such an easy read.
Yes, and I quickly fell in love with like each and every character, like side character that she introduced in Grace's life. Not the bad ones. She did a good job of making the a-holes a-holes. But
true that.
All of the characters that you meet that Grace ends up befriending and loving herself, like it was very easy to also love them. Care about them.
But this book also did, like, again, when I said Wednesday stole a lot of things, it did. Because, like, the whole, in Wednesday, a secret group was after the main character, was after Wednesday. In this book, we have a similar situation.
Yeah.
Basically, Grace is just going to this school, has no idea what's happening, she's meeting all these people. Jackson's weird as get out. She meets him a few times. The strawberry scene was interesting.
Yeah, even Jackson later like admits that he doesn't know what he was doing.
He just said he was doing it. So there's a strawberry scene in the welcome party, and he just like seductively eats a strawberry, and he's hot. One off, dark hair, tall, buff. He's got a cool scar down his side of his face.
Yeah,
he's
Mr.
hot.
Bad guy. The whole school fears him. Everybody's telling Grace to stay away.
People walk in a hallway with him, like 3 feet away from him. There's a circle surrounding this guy.
The seas part for this man.
It's weird, but he's hot.
We also find out though that he's royalty, so that's another reason for the distance people keep.
I don't think that's the only reason though.
No, it's not. Most of it was people were terrified of him.
But like. This school also had a lot of earthquakes, which is really strange for Alaska. When I was reading, I was like, Alaska doesn't have that many earthquakes, but okay, we'll just go through it. But he was like eating this strawberry in front of her, and I was like, oh my god, are you? And he like bites into it the way they read it. I was just like, oh my god.
Our lovely little naive Grace runs from this.
Oh yeah, she runs. I would run if I caught my husband lounging on a chair, looking all attractive, and then just like full on grabs the strawberry and lowers it to his mouth and bites it seductively and looks at me, just staring at me the whole time, I'd be out. I'd be like, no.
In this scenario also, Grace's, and this is like a recurrent thing in the books, is that everybody is staring at her. Everybody is watching her.
I forgot about that being a big part. Was
all eyes.
Every person was looking at her the entire time. I felt so like, shelter me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be seen. Just
the
don't look at me.
wallflower in me was appalled at this. Like, I don't know if I could have done it, Grace. Props to you. I would have curled up and died in my shoes. I'd been like, I had that much attention.
I'd be like, hey guy. I would have probably danced. I would have just been like, hey, let's go. No, okay, cool. All right.
You've watched.
I would have tried to
You've
kill
watched
it.
New Girl, right? I know you have. If anybody out there, all I can imagine is like the awkward Nick Miller dance.
Oh yeah. I would totally pull that. I'd just be like, hey, no, we're not into it. Cool. I don't know why you're all looking at me. I'm not that interesting.
Yeah, Grace doesn't know why she's interesting either, though.
Ain't nobody know. So the further we get down, Jackson is flirting, not flirting, bantering, conversating, kind of like getting as close as he can, but also Grace is just trying to get involved in the school. So she meets Flint and Macy, and Flint wants to go to a snowball fight, and they're like, all right, let's do it. So they go down the snowball fight, and she's like, I can invite Jackson, and they're like, he won't come because apparently there's a tiff between everybody.
Yeah, there's like this huge turf war going on between the different like races of paranormals in the school.
Yeah.
We find out, and like nobody wants to associate with like the other groups.
At all.
Yeah, so she's inviting Jackson, and there's this like this tension and like turf war against Jackson and Flint that we find out pretty quickly.
The whole time. Like, they're both trying to stake claim pretty quickly on this new girl, because she's the new girl at the school.
Yeah, they're staking their claim on her.
Which is weird. I don't like being
The
marked.
two most popular guys in the school, by the way. That's like a thing that keeps being brought up, is that, like, these are the two
most popular guys.
These are the it guys.
I'm sorry. I don't know what it is about me, but if the two it guys were coming at me, I'd be like, alright, no.
No.
Can I go somewhere else? Anywhere else. You're both attractive and beautiful, but you're too good looking for me. I don't need that. I don't need to be worried about how I look every day of my life looking at you. So, I'm going to go over here. Who do we got? What's his name? Mecky? Mecky?
I love him
Mecky,
so
I'm here
much.
for you. Let's go.
Jackson's best friend
Yeah, I would take Mecky and I'd just be gone. I'd be like, he's hot, but he's not that hot.
Yeah, and he's also like funny and charming and caring. Also, can we talk about how every male in this book is described as like model status hot?
All of them are attractive.
Grace even admits it as like did they pull their student roster out of like a model agency?
But in the snowball fight, like, this is when we start getting like the plot story of the situation where people are trying to. Grace is just clumsy. A. B is just bad luck because her parents died and now everything in the world's trying to kill her. Or 3, something's out to get her. So she was in a snowball fight. They climb up a tree. Flint takes her up there, and then it starts to get really, really windy. At this time, we don't know about like paranormals or anything.
Yeah, she gets knocked out of the tree. Flint catches her.
Oh, cute.
And then we have Jackson show up, and oh my gosh, can I say how much I loved this scene with Jackson?
The snowball scene?
This is the scene where I was like,
ooh, you fangirl?
I
fangirled crushing over the same boy over here.
Because he comes all in like, who did this to you? Like, who dared to like hurt you kind of way. And I was like, oh, this is it.
He comes in
for me.
And then Mecky and all of his friends come behind him because they're in what did they call it?
Order.
The Order. So that was like a click that we figured out. Macy was like, they're in the Order, and we're like, what the fuck is the Order?
Also, by the way, we go back to Grace naivety a little bit. The fact that Jackson's friend group was called the Order should have been like the biggest clue that this wasn't a normal group of high schoolers.
Oh yeah. So quickly. Also, who doesn't want to play snowball fights because there's a tiff in the groups and everyone's already segregated throughout the groups, and We didn't go in the fact that everyone's dressed in specific clothes types to go with their faction.
Oh yeah, the different groups kind of have like they're very similar, like they dress kind of the same, so it's kind of easy to tell like who belongs to what group.
Yeah, but like that also should have been a dead giveaway, because if you watch a group of gothic people dressed in black,
yeah,
and then you have a group of like hippie looking people dressed in crystals, and you got a group of like tough dudes wearing sweatpants and t-shirts, like,
yeah,
it's gotta trigger something. Maybe
a little bit.
I feel like it would. But maybe not.
Finishing up on the snowball scene, before I get into this next point. Yeah, so this is where I started to really like Jackson.
Yeah.
His overprotectiveness over Grace was like...
You like the overprotectiveness?
I told you I like it in fictional senses.
I was like, okay.
I liked it in this sense.
Because he's actually like, life or death.
Yeah, it was a protectiveness. Not really. This wasn't overprotectiveness yet. Them telling her, like, not to trust the other guys or be around them, that was overprotective. And then, like, Grace gets hurt falling out of the tree, and she can't walk. Yeah. And so Jackson notices, even though she's trying to be a tough girl.
Oh, I forgot about this, but now I remember.
And he, like, bridal style carries her back to her room. And that was it for me. Like, the grudgingly,
after
like,
the banter and the fight.
off her feet.
Because she's like, no, I'm walking. And he goes, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And then she tries to fight him, and he goes, stop it.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh,
I
my
was
God.
swooning a little.
I love this book. All right. So that's incident 1. Incident 2, which one was it? Was it the chandelier, or was it something else?
No, it wasn't the chandelier. I think she gets...
Is it the glass?
That was not, that was an accident, though.
No. I think the chandelier is the only thing that's next.
Oh, no. We missed something.
What did we miss?
Even before the snowball fight, when she first gets there and, like, her first night there.
Oh, the first night.
Those two guys that she meets in the hallway, like, are trying to, like, pull a prank on her and throw her out in the Alaskan winter when she's got, like, no clothes. Like, well, she's got clothes on.
She's human.
But she's got, like, pajama clothes on. And it's, like, sub-zero temperatures out there.
And she's human.
She's human. Which everybody at the school knows.
Yeah, everyone knows she's human, but she doesn't know what everybody else is.
Yeah. So, yeah, these two guys were gonna, like, throw her out in the snow, which would have killed her.
Also, to give an outfit check, these guys were the sweatpants and t-shirt wearing guys that were buff.
Yeah.
Just gonna throw that out there. And the guy that saved her was wearing black clothes.
It was Jackson that saved her,
and
too.
it was Jackson, and he has black hair and white skin and black clothes.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could read Twilight and not put two, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I knew immediately.
Oh, speaking of Twilight, okay, so one thing I do love about this book, and it was another impression, is the fact that she doesn't shy away from these tropes. Like, she leans into the fact that this is the Twilight-esque, that this is, what is it? She even references Legacies, which is like the Vampire Diaries spin-off series.
She does reference
And Grace
Legacies.
is talking about it and being like, oh my gosh, I love this show. And Macy's like, do you love this show?
Yeah, and Jackson
the vampires?
There's another part. I know we're hitting a lot of we're not staying streamlined. Sorry.
No, we're back and forth a little bit.
It's fine. The book was so good that it all runs together. When he gave her the gift of a Twilight book,
that's where I was getting with this. That he gifted her Twilight.
And then Macy was like, that's so sweet.
Yeah, Macy's just sitting over there like, oh my gosh, he's trying to tell her and not telling her. And yeah. Grace is just like, this is an interesting thing for him to pick. And I'm like, come on.
Like,
it's Twilight.
Ain't nobody that naive. Alright, but we have all of these moments. She's the whole school staring at her. We've had a few attempted murders, which we also had a chandelier scene that also happened.
I think that was the peak kind of where things start realizing that. So up until this point, like, Jackson had been telling her, like, you need to get out of here. People are trying to kill you.
Yep.
And Grace is like, holy crap, who are you to be overprotective and paranoid about this? Like, you're being ridiculous. She didn't believe him. And the chandelier scene.
Yeah. We love that.
What happened in the chandelier scene? It was in the cafeteria. I remember. with Flint.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So Flint and Grace was getting food with Flint at the cafeteria, and she was like, I don't really feel great. Like, he was like, well, you just go to the table, tell me what you want, and I'll get it, and I'll bring it to you. And she said, okay, because this was after she had lost a lot of blood due to an incident with glass. We're not going to go into that. You need to
read that.
You need to read that. I don't want to spoil that.
Grace just almost dies a lot.
Yeah, Grace almost dies too many times. So there's a lot of incidents, and there's too many for us to go over. But the chandelier one's important for the next part of the book. But he tells her to go sit down, and when she goes to sit down, she has to walk under this grand chandelier that's in this gothic giant room cafeteria.
I think this is like an iron chandelier too. Like this is like the chandelier.
I don't know why, but my brain imagined like not like a jeweled chandelier, but like the circle chandelier that has all of the pieces on the sides and then has like a cross in the center.
That's exactly what I imagined, but like it's made out of like the heavy iron and the candles around it. That's what I pictured.
I pictured that too. So that's the chandelier that just magically falls right when Grace is walking under it. And you know who comes and saves her?
Jackson.
Because, of course, Jackson's there. Because, again, too perfect. The banter, the friendliness, the caring, the backstory.
The Superman saves.
Like, what the heck? He's always there when she's hurt. Too good. I'm still on that track. He's too good to be true. And I will say that to the end of time.
Are you going to mention your theory?
I will later. Okay. I think we'll mention that near the end.
Yeah, we'll talk about our theories.
I'm not gonna lie, I had this theory halfway through the book though, and I was like,
yeah, you threw me for a loop with it.
Oh, I told her, I was like, Jack, because it was something a comedian said, and it's so true. It's like girls want this in a guy. They want them to be caring. They want them to be strong. They want them to be invested. They want them to be, and they're like, you know why you can't have that guy? Because he has a boyfriend. And I was like, I love Jackson, but I think he's bi.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's meant to be with Grace.
You had a gaydar go off there.
Very quickly. And I think my brain was just like, he's too good. No straight man is this good. Because straight men only care about protecting and what is theirs most of the time. It's rare to find a unicorn. Unicorns are hard.
Yeah.
And even with those unicorns, those two things are still on the top over everything else.
Yeah.
Jackson had all of them. And I was like, mm-mm. So my theory is that he's supposed to be with Flint, and that's why they have a tiff, because for me, they had more chemistry. Flint and Jackson have more chemistry than Grace and Jackson, because Grace and Jackson were too easy.
Yeah, I guess we have been saying banter between them a lot.
Yeah.
This is not an enemies to lovers.
No.
Jackson tries to be her enemy at like the beginning, but he is too good.
Yeah, he's too good.
He cannot keep that facade up that he's this tough guy that doesn't care about anybody.
No.
So their banter is
friendly.
More of like friendly sarcasm banter.
I would say.
Cutesy. Back and forth.
It's like your first crush, but not your first love.
Yeah.
And it's like the babe texts.
Babe text.
It's cute. It's fun. It's giddy. It's nice to read, but he's not the guy you marry.
Yeah.
And that was my theory, just because I was like, he's too good to be true. And I still believe that.
He was too good to be true in my mind too, but honestly, I felt like something bad was like
she thinks
they got
he's
together
gonna die
so quickly. I was like, this man's gonna be killed off.
She thinks Jackson's gonna die in that book or in a future book. I think he's just gonna end up with Flint.
Although I will say my opinion is changing as we continue reading things.
You leaning towards my side of the group?
I'm more leaning towards your side of things right now.
I'm telling you, Jackson and Flint had chemistry. They're mad at each other. It's like the old love kind of situation. The old married couple you see.
That's
their chemistry.
The friends to enemies to
yeah.
friends, and then friends to something else? Question mark?
Yeah,
we
friends
don't know
to
yet.
enemies to enemies to lovers.
Who knows?
Maybe. We'll find out one day. I could be totally wrong, and that's fine if I am. But we get all these death situations, and lo and behold, Grace finds out about all of the paranormals. Mm-hmm. She finds out what Jackson is.
Yeah.
when they actually found out what Jackson was before.
Oh, before the chandelier.
Before the chandelier, because they found out at the glass scene when she got bit by a vampire.
Yeah, well, yeah, she hit, yeah.
Yeah, she knew at that point. She knew at that point. She pulled the Band-Aid off.
She pulled the Band-Aid off, and then she had 2 bites, and, you know, one thing about, like I said, about this book is that they don't shy away from the tropes. There was no, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what could have done this to me. She knew what it was.
Yeah, immediately. Like any of us would. I would have known when I walked into a school of sub-categoried groups, and one group was wearing all gothic black, and another group looked very athletic, and another group looked very hippie. I would have known immediately.
Yeah.
But she had to wait until someone bit her to figure it out.
Yeah. It's okay, Grace. We forgive you, because you recovered well.
Yeah. Give it to the app. But that's when she found out that everyone was vampires, which is another point where they freaked out and was like, oh my god, and then she found out Jackson was a vampire, and then she was like, the Twilight books are really sweet. So it's such a cozy read. It's good. There's so much that happens in these books too.
Yeah, like I said, we read these books quickly as well. Like, yeah, it is hard to remember like when things happened, and it's hard for me to not talk about, because at this point, when you guys are watching this, I have already completed the second book, and she's like 20 pages away from finishing the second book.
I'm going on book 3.
So I am like struggling to not bring in points from the second book right now.
Oh yeah, we're trying not to say anything, but
because that will be not next week's episode, but the week after that we will be talking about book 2.
But this overall series was just like, the first book was so good, with all of the story, the plot, all of it was great. I felt like we got very dark very quickly at the end.
Yeah, it starts out like this, like, you know, this cozy, nostalgic kind of filling book, and it was nice and easy to read.
School related. It's a nice August read.
Things get intense in the, like, I think I texted you. I was like in the last 100 pages, and I was like in all caps, things are intense.
So quickly. It happened out of the blue too.
It went from like 0 to maybe like 25, and then like from 25 to like 1,000.
Yeah, they were just like, all of everyone trying to kill you. Yeah, that's actually happening.
Yeah.
By the way, everyone wants you dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
For what reasons? We didn't know, because why would they want a random human dead? Yeah, I don't know. Should we say anything about the last 100 pages? Because like things are. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil either. Things really hit the fan. Yeah. In the last 100 pages. I think this book for me is a 5-star read, so I'm scared to spoil the ending. Yeah, I don't want to spoil. I don't even want to talk about it on here. Yeah. Like, that's as much as I'm going to say about it. Read the book. This book's worth reading. The plot twist that comes at the end, I don't feel like spoiling for you guys, because no, I saw it coming, but also at the same time, like, it was good enough and well written enough that like it still kept me on my toes. It's not worth us spoiling. No. But just everything about the whole end was so intense, and like, oh my gosh. I'm just gonna use one word, the sacrifice thing. Yeah, there may be sacrifices. Holy cow. Like, the very end of the book, though, had me, like, my jaw dropping. I know! It was that was the real plot twist, I feel like, in the book. Because things aren't all that we think they are. Like, we feel like we have things figured out at the end, and Grace feels like she has things figured out, and then it's another, like, surprise. Oh. No, it's not. There was my favorite line from that book that's in my card, but I need to say this now before I forget, because of what you just said, things are not always how they're written, is my favorite line in the book is, history is always written by the winner. Oh, yeah. That line, I was like, holy crap, that's so true to today's life, too, because American history, or history classes in America, when they're written, we get America's perspective. But in England, in Japan, in China, they get the other perspective. They don't get taught our perspective. And that just leads into, like, what's the true history of what's happened in the past versus what we're being fed. And when Jackson said that line, I was just like, also, oh my gosh. And so this leads in a little bit more to the second book. That line of history is written by the winners.
we really touch into that theme, I feel like, a lot in the second
Oh
book.
yeah.
And
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like we're about to, like, really get into it in the third book that we're about to read.
I'm so excited.
There's a lot of truth that needs to be, like, discovered for us as the readers and for Grace. And I cannot wait to figure out what happens, because I have been, like...
Have you ordered your next book?
I went and bought the third book. So I have it. I'm about to start it.
It's okay. I have
as soon
20
as I
pages
can.
left, so...
As soon as I'm able to, I will be starting the third.
I'll probably start the second tomorrow, depending on how late I'm editing and how late I can do other things. So, we've talked about the coziness, the Augustness, the schoolness, the characters.
Yes.
As much of the story as we want to share, please go read it, because we are not Tracy Wolff and we cannot do this book any justice over a podcast. We can talk about how much we love it, though. And then we have theme.
Yeah, so when I was just touching on the theme of history being written by the winners, there are other over-encompassing themes in the book, which you have them pulled up.
Oh yeah,
the
deeper themes we have is friendship, which is a lot of friendship between a lot of the groups that they were there. Back to the Meki.
I'm sorry if we're butchering this
name,
by the way.
Apologizes in advance. It's Jackson's friend, but he's our favorite character.
He's one of the only characters that has a hard to pronounce name in this book too.
That's also very true. He's the only one.
I think it's I want to say it's an ethnic name though.
I'm gonna go with Meki, but I don't know. He's amazing. I love him. Very well written group on the Order as well, because the Order's friend group was also very well written for everyone, and they're all very close. And then identity was also another thing that it hit at, which is good.
Which you find out more through Grace as she's like struggling to come through this new place and like finding her place in the world and finding her place in the world without her parents there. And you know, she has like this whole come to truth moment when she realizes that her parents knew more than they ever told her as well.
Oh yeah. And then also the complexities of love and all of the different facets, and something that at the end of the book.
Yeah.
Oof. I don't want to say it.
Read the book.
Go read the book and talk to us about this.
The ending.
We're here for you. You DM Biblio Madness, we're DM back about this, because we understand and want to talk to someone, but there's so many things, because like Jackson and Grace, oh my god, they're the couple everyone wants to be, and the picture perfect. But the picture perfect in what I know to be true in my own life is never true.
Yeah, I knew they were too good to be true from the beginning, and the fact that they get together in book 1 and things are going so well for them in book 1, I knew that they like something's gonna happen, because there's like 6 books in this series.
Yep.
Couples don't last that long in book series. They either get betrayed, they get broken up, one of them dies.
There's too many options. I really, really wish I could go back to 2020 and read this during the pandemic.
Oh, right. This would have been
when the
so
books
good to
came
read
out
in the pandemic. Although I am really glad that now we get to read it and it's completed and we don't have to wait for anything to drop.
I know. I'm glad we don't have to wait for anything.
The newest book
but
just released, so.
Yes. I don't know if there's going to be another one.
I thought it was the end.
I think it's the end, but I don't know.
Yeah. Also, talking about her cleverness, and which I don't know if it remains true for the rest of the books, but we had talked about her cleverness in naming Crave.
Oh yeah.
The fact that it's called Crave, because it makes you crave more of this universe. You want to read more.
Yeah,
very instantly.
I'm very excited to figure out all of these, because like the second book has already
crushed me.
It's lived up to its name. So if Covet lives up to his name,
I think it will, considering what we're about to go through in that book.
I know, and then we have Court, and then we have Charm, and then we have Cherish, and I'm very excited for Cherish.
Cherish sounds like a happy ending.
It sounds so happy.
I'm holding out hope that we have a happy ending.
I really need a happy ending, I'm not gonna lie. But we also get, just not a love story, but we also get a lot of self-discovery and personal growth that you were talking about. And not just with Grace, but with all the other characters
and Jackson
as well.
And the other characters.
I think this is for me, and this is why it was such a 5-star read, is that these characters, just like we have with Harry and Hermione and all of them, it's the same kind of friend group. You don't get just attached to Harry. You get attached to everybody.
I am a little...
I know.
I can't say anything.
Don't say that. You get attached, though.
There is a... If you are fond of the found family trope,
yeah,
this is a good series. Like, it has that found family
and
that Grace finds here. And you instantly, like, get attached to her little found family. It's, like, each and every character. And I dread to think of anything happening to any of them.
I'm gonna be so sad when this series ends.
This is a series that'll leave a hole. Yeah. I can feel it. Like, we're gonna be in a slump after this.
I'm gonna be so sad.
So if you guys got some recommendations of things that feel like this series, we'll probably need it.
Yeah, ASAP, as soon as possible, because I'm gonna be really, really sad when I'm done with it. But I don't think we've said this, but you guys have already seen it on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, and if you haven't, our ratings for this book, for me, is 5 stars. I don't know what you rated it.
I think I rated this a 4. I think it was a 4-star for me. Which in my rating system means that I loved it and I would read it again. But I will say, like, I didn't want to rate it any higher because there's 5 more books to come for me. And so, like, I want to be able to build on that. And it already has. The second book is even higher for me. Like, the second book,
I think
touched a place in me.
I think for me, I'll be able to rate the books within the series differently than I would be able to, like, 5-star series. Like, 5-star book.
Yeah.
Okay. Compared to, like, a random book over here.
Okay.
So if I'm, like, picking and looking over there and I'm looking over here and I'm like, okay, I don't really love A Shadow and Bone. It's like a 3.
Sorry, Shadow and Bone.
Sorry.
I agree. Shadow and Bone is
the second one's
more boring.
But Shadow...
You like that book?
The second one...
So many people call that book boring.
They're all
boring.
On a tangent. They're all boring, but it's
Six of Crows is where it's at.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this series
Six of Crows
specifically.
Is where it's at.
But, like, this series is like a 3.
Yeah.
Altogether. Now, inside the series, like, Shadow and Bone's like a 2. And then you got, like, a 3. And then like a 3.5.
Maybe a 3.5. Yeah.
But you don't get any bigger, so the whole series is a 3. Now that book series for me right now is
I think that's how I was ranking them.
A 5-book series. But I will rank them inside of that series separately.
Yeah.
So like I'll have my favorite out of the 6, but it's separate from the 5-star.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I think that's how I was ranking it in my mind, because I was like, this is a 4-star book. But I might be just ranking it in the sense of the others, because I don't, like I said, I don't want to rank it 5 stars yet.
If the other ones are better.
The other ones might be better.
And that's fair. But my brain's just like, this book was so good that it's got me craving more.
Yeah.
Then it's a 5-star read, because I haven't stopped thinking about Jackson and Grace.
Okay.
And Macy and Flynn.
So I was going to say, a book in my opinion that's 5 stars is one that I obsess over, and I cannot stop thinking about. So maybe it is a 5-star book.
See, that's the thing. See, now we have unicorns, which we talked about at our top 5. Unicorns are rare. They're 6-star reads. Those are the reads that stay with you for the rest of your life, basically. Like, you can't ever not think about them.
That book right there.
Yeah. Court of Mist and Fury. Absolutely a 6.
You don't have it. But, I would say another big unicorn book for me is Kingdom of Ash. Like,
I don't have Kingdom of Ash.
She only has the beginning one.
It's rare to find a 6-star read, though. Like, they're hard to come by. I'm trying to think of another one that I have, but, like, they're rare.
Yeah, they are. So, I'm excited to see if the series has, like, another book that blows me out of the water.
I'm very excited.
To that level.
But I think that's all we have for Crave. Do you have anything else you want to add?
That's all I have.
All right. So we have agreed. That's a wrap on Crave's discussion. Thank you all for tuning into Biblio Madness.
Oh, where were we?
Laken's gonna catch up here in a second.
Join us next time as we we're exploring another one of her captivating books. We're really, really excited to talk with you guys about Crush in a couple weeks. But stay tuned for next week, because we have something a little different again.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit more discussions in between reading books, because we're doing a book podcast. You have to read a lot, and we also have other reads that we're doing. So we're
Yeah.
trying to keep up. But
we have
also,
our own endless TBRs to get through.
We also want to discuss other things than just diving into a book. But I am so excited to go through Crave in the series for August. Not all of August, but half of it at least.
Yeah, our journey through these books will stretch into the next couple months, I think.
Probably.
It'll be split up so you guys don't get weighed down.
Yeah, no, we don't want to just throw in the same books at you guys for the entire time, but I think this is a good move into October. But for me, October is going to be a lot of slashers and thrillers, and she is going to hate me for it. Sorry,
I say that I hate you. I said I might have a newfound passion for thrillers after the book we read recently. That's good, but
you've not read any slashers yet.
No, I haven't read any slashers.
So and those are bloody.
I don't have a problem with bloody.
Says the girl that's read this book over here that had heads being thrown at a wall.
I don't have a problem with being bloody.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. It was great getting to talk to you guys. Please reach out and DM if you do read this book. I really, really highly suggest reading it for August in the fall in the spooky season. It is going to be a fantastic read for the end of the year to hit it off right. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, hit us up on one of the social medias. I think that's everything we've got. Laken, do you have anything else?
Nope. We will see you guys next week.
All right. See you next week on Monday at 10 a.m.